All right, joining me via Zoom. Very excited about this guest. Uh, Coach, I had you on this show many. I think it was literally like one of the first couple episodes. But head coach McNeese State, Will Wade. McNeese is 28-3, getting ready to play in their conference tournament on Tuesday. Coach Wade, man, how you doing? How's everything going?
I'm doing well. It's been a while, but it's good to be back.
Well, it's great to be back, and it's great to see you guys having success. I've been to Lake Charles. I've never actually been to the campus of McNeese
I've been to the
State.
casinos, huh?
I mean, you caught me. Don't tell my wife. I mean, she's actually in the other room. She knows I was there. But yes, I have been to the casinos in Lake Charles. But listen, it's been a fun story to watch from a distance. So you take over. A program hasn't been to a tournament, an NCAA tournament since 2002. And as we talk here, going into the conference tournament, 28-3. You got the job about a year ago now. I have to imagine, I know you had confidence in yourself. I know the administration had confidence in you. Did you see 28-3 in your first 31 games coming?
No, I mean I knew we were going to be good. I got up. We lost 23 games last year. I got up in the press conference said we're going to win 23. But I'm not always right, but I'm always sure. So I don't lack for much confidence. But I've kind of felt like, hey, look, we'll go 8-5 in the non-conference. We can go 15-3 in the league. That'll get us 23-8. That's a hell. That'd be that'd be a great year, hell of a year. And hopefully we can win one in the tournament, or win one or two in the tournament and see where that goes. Like that's kind of how that's how my thinking was. And we've been fortunate. You can go 10 years and not win 3 bye games. And we won at VCU, at UAB, and at Michigan, where each of them paid us to come there and play. And I mean, it's those games are hard to win. I mean, you're playing on their home courts. The travel's usually brutal. They've got their officials. I mean, you have to work hard to win one of those every 3 or 4 years, and to be able to win 3 in 1 year. And we caught those guys at the right time as well. But to win 3 in 1 year, you never count on any of that. And so that really expedited things and kicked things into high gear. And so that was good for us, and that got us moving. And so I knew we'd be good. I knew we'd be able to flip it. I knew we'd turn it pretty quick. But I didn't know it'd be quite like this. We got a bunch of kids out of the portal, and you never know how that thing's gonna come together. And we hit on it. We hit on the right personalities. We hit on the right guys, and we got a little bit lucky.
So you mentioned the portal. I'm curious, this is the new world, and there's going to be guys that are going to be dealing with this in a week or two from now when they take new head coaching opportunities. I mean, obviously you want to, give guys that are there the opportunity to stay or whatever, but a lot of them just don't want to. They came to play for another guy, whatever. Like, how does for people who follow college basketball, love it. April in 2023, 2024, 2025, you take over a new job. Just take us through those first like 6 to 8 weeks on the gig.
I mean, April's more important than July now.
No.
July used to be like the main recruiting month, and now it's for sure April. Now, I will say this, and I'm a huge fan of the portal. I think there should be no restriction. I think you should be able to transfer as many times as you want. I think there should be zero restrictions on anything. But if you're going to be successful, you can't build a team solely out of the portal. Like, look, we're going to have people coming after our kids right and left, because we got kids that have put up good numbers. All of our kids have been at other schools. We're going to have kids coming out, or people coming after them right and left. I mean, the trick for us is we got to be able to convince 2 or 3 of them to stay. Like, I think you got to have 3 or 4 stay that you can build around. Try to go get another 2 or 3 out of the portal, and then in our case, grab 1 or 2 out of junior college. Not everybody can take the JUCOs, but that's, it's not sustainable just to go get 8 or 9 guys out of the portal every year. Now, we just went and got 10, and that's not easy. Well, we got 10 new guys, 7 jukes, or 7 portal guys, and 3 JUCO transfers. But I mean, that's not easy to do. And so I think to build a sustainable program, you've got to be able to keep the guys that you want in your program. Now, with the portal, I mean, look, there's lemons in there too. I mean, you got to sift through it and find the right guys. Just because you go get a bunch of guys in the portal Doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. Doesn't mean that they're going to be successful. And the most important recruits you have are the ones you got on your campus right now, to keep the guys that you want to keep. And obviously the guys who you don't want to keep, they'll probably go in the portal anyway. But, April is a critical month when you get a new job. I mean, I think my philosophy is like, and I came here, I said, guys, if any of y'all want to leave, y'all can leave. Like, I'm not going to beg anybody to stay. I'm not going to, sit here and plead with people to stay. If you want to stay, great. We'll work through it. If you don't want to stay, like, that's your right, man. Head on out. And I think when you're taking over a new job now, you used to have some things you could hold over the kids, so to speak, to, hey, you probably need to stay, the transfer, which I whether it's right or wrong, I don't think it's right, but you had some things like that. Now you got nothing. I think it's a fool's errand to waste your time trying to convince kids. Like, hey, let them do whatever they want, and you just go reload with what you got. And I think it's really, really tough to convince those guys to stay now.
Let me ask you, I want to get to this season, everything you've accomplished, but I am curious from your perspective, because I think most people listening to this will be the North Carolina fan, the Kentucky fan, the UCLA fan.
They ain't got to worry about the portal. They get whoever they want.
Well, that's what I was
They pick off the top of the heap. We're down here dumpster diving at McNeese, man. We just trying to dive. We're trying to get everybody scraps, see what we can get left over.
Well, and not only that, but like you said, and I'm not picking on any schools, like, they're going to be coming after some of your, like, what is that relationship like?
Oh, shoot, I already got it. My kids, man, they tell me everything, man. I've already got a school's offered one of my kids a lot of money. I told him, I said, brother, you better be on the first train out of here. Like, you better get out of here. I'll pack your bags for you, man. I'm like, I'll pack your bags for you. That's great. Like, I'm excited. It's an SEC school. I'm like, man, you need to go. Like, that's awesome. I mean, look, the coaches have done it for years. Why can't the players do it? If a coach gets an opportunity, they're out, and they leave the players high and dry. So now that it's shifted back to the players, everybody's upset. Well, hell, that's just the way you got it. That's just the way of the world, man. And so like, look, it's just different. At LSU, I was trying to get kids, tell them, hey, look, we'll develop you, we'll make you a pro. Here, I'm going to get kids, tell them we'll develop you, we'll be able to get you, triple the NIL you could get, and you can leave and go high major, and I'll go find the next guy that wants to do the same thing. And we'll just recycle it like that. But look, those blue bloods, man. I mean, I know Kentucky picked up Trey Mitchell and some of those guys pick ups. I think UCLA is mostly international recruiting, and they're academically. I don't know how easy it is to get a transfer in at UCLA, but I mean, most of those guys, they can still get the best of the best in high school, and those programs the kids want to stay in as well, but just because of the tradition and the people they have around those programs. So it's a little bit different everywhere. You got to find the formula everywhere. The one thing I think the portal and all this does is it gives a lot of other people opportunities to win that didn't have as good an opportunity to win. If that makes sense. Like, it evens the playing field. Like, the whole thing about recruiting and competitive equity and you don't want to give this school an advantage or that school an advantage. Well, every school has to use what advantage they have. And, now this gives everybody the opportunity to have an advantage. You follow what I'm saying?
No, there's no doubt. I mean, we're recording here before the final weekend of the regular season, but like, Kansas is in like 6th place in the Big 12 right now. Iowa State's ahead of them. Houston's ahead of them. In the SEC, Kentucky could get that double bye, but they might not because Auburn's. And it is crazy.
South Carolina,
that's a great example.
Their whole team's built from the portal. Just about. Michi Johnson was a hold. I mean, he was at Ohio State. They got him out of the portal. A lot of their teams built out of the portal.
See, really quick.
I just think I think it gives everybody
you're right.
an opportunity. Like, look, when I was in the SEC, they talk about, well, we care about everybody and we do that. Okay. Well, then why is Kentucky's Big Blue Madness on the SEC network and nobody else's stuff's on the SEC network? Well, if I was an economics guy, which the people at the conference office are, I'd put Kentucky's on there too. They have the largest basketball fan base. People are going to tune in to watch that. People are going to tune in to watch their blue and white scrimmage. All right. But that's not equitable for everybody else in your league. That's a distinct advantage that they have. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have that advantage. They should. their Midnight Madness is on TV. Their Midnight Madness was on TV. Well, that's a huge recruiting advantage that the conference gave them on the SEC network, which is cool, which is great. But nobody else had anything to counter that. You know, they go on a foreign tour. Their games are televised on a foreign tour. I think Auburn got their games televised the last time they went on a foreign tour. But like, no, you'd had nothing to counter that when you were at one of the other schools. Now you got something to counter all that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it. That's what makes it. I like it. That's what makes it. You know, I've been in some rougher jobs, but that's what makes it. That's what makes it exciting. That's why I think more people have a chance to do some things now.
So I swear we're going to get to your team, but like you said something really interesting.
I got some crazy theories, so you got
no. This is great, and I didn't know we are going to go all these directions, but I want, like, one thing I always try to do. So I'm like you, I kind of tell it like it is, and some people like it, some people don't, whatever. But I bring it up because I always try to tell fans like what's really going on, not what so and so wants you to think, whatever, what's really going on. But one of the things, and I'm maybe a little bit more of I'd like to see the portal regulated, maybe a tiny little bit. But one thing I have said is exactly what you just said, is that listen, I would love for it to be back in the day, somebody, Steph Curry leads Davidson to a Elite Eight, and then he comes back to Davidson, as opposed to somebody offering him whatever to come transfer up for a year, whatever. But why I bring it up is I've always viewed the mid-major level and the low major level in the portal era as basically everybody's a one and done school right now. You used to say, oh, Kentucky's a one and done school. They recruit John Wall, but they better find his replacement before he steps on campus. And I've always felt like, I guess what I'm asking you with the portal guys is, on the one hand, I'm guessing you really do want to keep them, but you also, it sounds like if a guy has an opportunity to make essentially life-changing money at the college level, you're kind of telling them, hey, be my one and done at McNeese State. You might not be going to the NBA, but if you could triple your money going to XYZ school, you should get out of here, basically.
100%. I mean, look, if we're all in it to help the kids, like everybody says, but most people are just full of it, like that's what you should want. I mean, look, we're making healthy salaries. The kids can make healthy salaries now. What's wrong with that? I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, does it hurt the fans? Yeah, most fans want to see the kids grow through the program, and and you're going to have some rare cases where that happens, but it's we had senior night the other night. I had one kid who'd been here more than 1 year. He was a JUCO transfer. This was his second year. He was a holdover from the previous coach. The other three guys were three grad transfers, and it was their last game. I mean, so I mean, that's just the way of the world. You can't build a program. You just got to build a team every year. You just got to build the best team you can, and then go figure it out. But the portal just evens out the inequities in recruiting.
Sure.
The high majors miss on guys all the time. Well, the high majors have guys on their bench who probably shouldn't be there, and the mid and low majors have guys that are scoring a bunch of points that the high majors missed out on. All right, so you just flip-flop them. I think through the portal, everybody eventually ends up at a level that they're capable of playing really good basketball at.
Makes perfect sense.
What's wrong with that?
I know.
You're not allowed to make mistakes. I mean, yeah, the kids make mistakes. The schools make mistakes. Like in the old days, man, if you signed 5 guys, if you hit on 2 to 3 of them, man, you did a hell of a job in recruiting with a freshman. And so, I mean, what are you going to do with the other 2? I mean, they got to find somewhere to go, and the other 2 don't deserve to have success because the coach and the other person and the kid, messed up the initial relationship. No, they should be able to have success.
Well, and if we're having the real conversation, there's 2 other things that are factored in. One, coaches would promise you something, get you on campus, and they just recruit right over you, bring in another guy next year. Correct. Or they had what was called a runoff back in the day. Now, it's not really as much of an issue, where they basically force you to transfer whether you really want to or not. So let's talk about your squad here, man, because 20 –
all my kids who are going to leave.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to talk portal, that's fine. I mean,
no. We don't want to talk about that. You got enough on that.
I was going to say, so take us through for people who haven't seen, and I think it's fascinating because, again, you built a team, as you said, 11, 12 new guys, whatever you said, 10 new guys. You guys are number 1 in the country in field goal percentage defense, and I think top 5 and top 10 in the country in scoring defense. So, like, You guys are doing an unbelievable job, but how do you create a culture or whatever? Like defense is a coaching effort kind of thing. And we think of defense in like a Tennessee or a Houston, a place where they've been doing it the same way for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years with the same coaches, all that. You guys have literally done it overnight. Just curious how you've been able, tell us a little bit about your team for people who'll be seeing them on TV for the first time over these next couple of days.
I mean, look, my assistants do a great job with the defense. Brandon Chambers is our defensive coordinator. Vernon Hamilton, who is like second all time in the ACC in steals, him and Chambers do a great job with the defense. And I mean, look, the way I look at it is relative to your league. If you have the best athletes, you get the best chance to win. I don't care if I'm coaching basketball, soccer, volleyball, baseball, whatever. And so I think the first part to being a good defensive team is go out and get the best athletes you can get. I mean, you look at Houston, who you just mentioned. I mean, they have tremendous, tremendous athletes protecting the rim and doing all sorts of things. And so, our defense philosophy is pretty simple. So it's easy for us to teach. It's pretty easy for guys to pick up on, quickly. And so, it's been good for us this year. It's been a calling card for us this year, and our guys have really, really done a good job. We don't even start teaching the defense till the fall. We do all offense in the summer, just because I don't think the guys, they don't want to sit in the defensive stance in July. Like, it's hard to get. We're just going to make the coaches mad and the players mad if we're trying to defend a bunch in July. But that's just my philosophy on it. And so we don't start the defense till the fall, and our guys have done a really, really good job of being aggressive in it. And we've got a kid, Wells, who one of the best players in the league, if not the best player in the league. And I mean, he's like top 5 in the country in steals. And he had a high steal rate when he was at TCU. If you looked at his per 40 steals, he'd have been top 10 in the country. And, he makes the defense go. And, we've been fortunate. We got some good athletes, some good rim protectors. And that's helped us cobble together a decent defense here pretty quick.
Real quick, for people who haven't been to McNeese, I've talked to some of the guys on your staff, and you guys are hosting the conference tournament. I believe that it's not necessarily the first year, but everyone says the facilities are amazing. Like it just seems like a great college atmosphere to be part of. I like I said, I've been to Lake Charles. I've never been to campus. But for people who haven't been to your facilities and everything, obviously you're going to be the epicenter of Southland basketball here over the next couple of days.
Yeah, we have phenomenal facilities. So it was built in 2017. Unfortunately, we got hit with 2 hurricanes, a Category 4 and a Category 5. And we still got tarps on roofs here. That's part of what's made this season so special, is that it's really rallied the community. We've had the largest outmigration of any metropolitan area in the country the last 3 years.
Wow.
We've got 6% of our population.
How much?
A lot of people just didn't come back after the hurricanes. And so the people who came back, man, they chose to be here. They love Lake Charles. They love Southwest Louisiana. They love the area. And it's meant the world to them. But our facility is kind of the pride and joy. When the hurricanes hit, the roof came off. We had some flooding. That's the bad part. The good news is we got to go back and kind of change some things that maybe didn't, you always kind of mess some things up the first time. So we got to go back and change some things the second time. And it's a world-class facility. We got our own practice gym. We got our own weight room. Our training room's phenomenal, although we don't like being in there very much. But our arena is perfect. It seats 4,500 people. We've sold out 6 of our 10 home games, 6 of our 9 home games in conference this year. And so that part's been fun. We've got the perfect arena, perfect size, and it's new, and they did just a phenomenal job we got 6 suites. We've got everything that you need at this level. And so that was one of the big keys to me taking the job is, hey, we host the conference tournament. We host the conference tournament till 2029. So we host it for the next 6 years. And, we've got just phenomenal facilities and recruiting. I mean, look, recruiting's pretty easy when you put them a night at the Golden Nugget and take them to the arena. And we've got phenomenal apartments. I mean, our apartments here are nicer than 3/4 of the high major kids are living in. I had high major transfers that they're like, Coach, this is like 100 times nicer than where I lived. I just had another one. We have another one we hadn't announced yet who's here this semester. And he couldn't believe it when he got here. He's like, oh my gosh. And so, it sells well and shows well. We got everything we need to be successful.
I saw your AD call you a quote unquote rock star. How fun has it been for you? I mean, obviously everybody knows what they've read. A lot of it probably not very accurate, but there's been a lot of things said about you. And it's, by the way, I credit to LSU. It feels like a lot of that community embraced you, but it feels like McNeese, they've really like wrapped their kind of arms around you and your staff and your players.
Yeah, that's been awesome. I mean, look, I needed somewhere to reboot and restart the career, and they needed somebody to come in and reboot the program. It's just been a perfect marriage. My athletic director is phenomenal. He's a former basketball coach. I've known him a long time. My school president is like unbelievable. He sees the basketball and athletics as a way to continue to grow
Can I jump in really
grow
quick
the.
on that? You would
Yeah,
think that most universities should think that way. We all see the stats
it
on
doesn't
what mix,
happen.
and that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, how
It's like
realistic is it?
my president, man. I mean, look, he was the chairman of the Federal Reserve in Chicago. And
Okay.
this is a smart cat now. He's from down on the bayou in Louisiana, but he's a smart dude. And he sees this as a way, like the day after we beat Michigan, we had 600 people go on our application, which at
Wow,
McNeese is a huge, that's equivalent of 6,000 people going at a big state school.
that's crazy.
We've got at one point we had almost 9,000 students. We're down to like 6,000. So
Oh,
like we
wow.
want to grow that back up. That's all because of the hurricane. We've lost all those students and people just haven't come back because we're a regional university. We serve our 5 parish area here. And so, we've got to bring those folks back in and, basketball, and that's a way to do it. And our administration understands that. And that's why they've invested so heavily in it. And that's been a fun part of kind of bringing everybody together and bringing everything together. And that's why we want to finish it off as strong as we can.
I was going to say, I got to ask the tough question because obviously, as you personally continue to have success, other opportunities are going to potentially present themselves. But I don't want to, play armchair psychologist here. It seems like you're having fun, not only coaching basketball, but like you're literally rebuilding a university down there.
It's been a blast. Early in my career, I was just trying to go, 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 go. I mean, I left Chattanooga after 2 years. I left VCU after 2 years, and then LSU left me after 5. But like I was just boom, 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 just trying to climb the ladder as quick as I can. And certainly, look, I want to get back to the high level. I want to get back to where you can compete for a national title. Like I'd be lying if I said I didn't love mixing it up in the SEC and recruiting and everything that goes with it. Sleep with one eye open every night. I enjoyed that part. I enjoyed every day of it for 5 years. But as I've come back, I gained a little perspective being off last year, and being fired. Um, I'm a lot more like I enjoy the purpose behind what we do now more. And I had definitely lost a little bit of that, which is how quickly the climb was and how quickly we were progressing through things. And I've enjoyed this team more than any team I've had. I've enjoyed the moments. I've tried to take in every moment, and being able to be a part of a bigger mission and a bigger picture is something that early in my career I wouldn't have. I'd just been like, all right, whatever, let's just move on. But no, I appreciate that, and that part's been very rewarding to me internally, and I want to continue to give back here as long as I can. That doesn't mean I'm never leaving. But that also doesn't mean I'm just on the first train out of here hopping. I mean, I've turned down a couple interviews already from schools I didn't think were good fits. And, I told them, they could pay me 4 times what I'm making here, but that's not of interest to me right now. Like I like what we're doing here. And, if the right spot comes along, whatever, you got to listen to it and you got to find a way there. But, I fully intend on being here for a while, and I want to build the program to a point where I can just hand it to the next guy. Say, look, man, here's the keys to the Ferrari. Gas tank's full. It's fully tuned. Just turn the sun gun on and drive it as fast as you can. Just put the pedal to the metal and keep between the lines. So that's the goal, and I owe that to my athletic director. I owe that to my president here.
Let me ask you a couple more. I know you got to run.
Yeah.
One, first of all, have you noticed, because I find it very interesting being in this sport and being in the media, and I know you don't try to listen to the outside noise, but like I have noticed the perception of you changing, where it's like now when I mention Will Wade on social media, it's like the school that needs a coach is like, look what he's doing at McNeese State. We got to go get that guy. He won at LSU. We got to go get. have you noticed at all a perception? And again, maybe you just don't listen to the outside noise, but it feels like people are like, wow, this Will Wade guy, what he did at LSU was actually really impressive. We had a lot of stuff to say back then, but it's like he did it at LSU. He bounces, he bounces to McNeese State. He's doing it again, 28-3. You can't do that unless you really know what the heck you're doing. Have you noticed? And again, maybe you just don't listen to outside noise, but I have noticed it as an outsider. I was curious if you've experienced any of that.
No, I'm not on social media. So I got one of my administrative guys runs all my social media account. I didn't even know I was on Instagram until the other day. So I said, I'm on Instagram. He's like, yeah, you post all the time. I'm like, oh, that's Reed. That's not me. So they send me the post and whatever. Look, I kind of beat to my own drum. I've never been real worried about what other people say. I've tried to be much more concerned about what the people in my program, my players, my staff, kind of what they think and how they view me. I don't need the outside world to confirm or not like what I do. I am who I am. And look, I understand I'm not for everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But that's part of it. I'm secure with who I am. And I'm having a blast with it. And whatever people think, and people who didn't like me before, if they like me now, that's great. If people like me before and don't like me now, like that's great too. Like I'm just trying to serve our guys, serve our program, and I know this, the people who are with me every day, they know what's real. And that's all that really matters to me. The people who have a 80,000-foot view or just come in for a little bit and see what they want to see, that's fine. That's their opinion. And I harbor no ill will towards any of that. But there's a lot of stuff out there that's false. I didn't read much of the stuff that was out there, but my attorneys would send. I had an attorney who was very, very sharp. He's since passed away. But he told me this, and this was really true. He said, Coach, he said, on the best of one of those articles, like when they write an article about you that has to do with some of this stuff, at best, they get 40% of the information correct.
Wow.
He said, at best. He said, a lot of it's less than that. But he said, at best, they're getting 40% of the information correct. And of the ones I read, he was spot on with that. And they would, there was some stuff in there that was factually correct, but a lot of it was just totally not correct and haywire. And so, you can't fight that. You can't worry about that. And you just know what you do and know how you do it and keep it moving ahead.
Well, one thing I can say is, I know enough people who've been around you. They all swear by you. They all love being around you, all that good stuff. Two quick things. One, don't I don't know if this is negative necessarily, but one bid league. Rick Pitino he said the most stress I've ever had in my life. Now he's since said some other stuff about the most stressful moments of his life, but when he was at Iona, he said being in a one bid league is the most stressful thing that I have ever experienced. You guys are, it's great. It's awesome. You guys are playing well, but take us into that pressure of, 11 months and 3 weeks worth of work. I don't even want to put the negative vibes out there, but everybody knows.
I make it in like that.
Yeah.
Make it in like that. It's quick. And that's look, it's like I told our players, we all knew what we were signing up for. I knew when I took this job, we were coming in a one bid league. All you guys knew when you were coming here, we were coming in a one bid league. Like nothing's changed. We can't let what's happened get us out of out of whack. And so the reality is there's 5 seasons. You got the off season. We won the off season. We got all these cats in the locker room. You got the preseason where you're training the team and training them up. Did a pretty good job there. Non-conference, 11-2. That's the 3rd season. Conference, 17-1. That's the 4th season. 5th season's postseason. And every one of those, you got to reset. Just because we got good players didn't mean the preseason was going to go well. Just because our preseason went well didn't mean the non-conference is going to go well. The non-conference play had 0 to do with what happened in conference. And what happened so far in conference is not going to have anything to do with what happens in the conference tournament. So you got to reinvent, remake yourself, remake your team through every step. And that's what we got to do here as we move into conference tournament on Tuesday.
All right. I'm going to let you sort of close here on one of your crazy theories. So my question for you, so you guys, I know you probably don't pay attention to bracketology, but you're trending to like a 12 seed, something like that. So my question is as follows. Okay. I have this theory. I think the net is great. I understand we need some barometer to judge teams. I think we've gone way too far in the net has become and I don't blame the net. I blame the people that are implementing the net. it's gone from a tool to
It's
great
gone from a
team.
sorting tool to the Bible.
Yes. And so like, and I won't even use McNeese State, but so like South Florida as an example, AAC, first year head coach. So, very similar situation. They start 2-4. They have since gone 21-1 as of this recording. Now, maybe they lose their season finale. Maybe they lose their opener, their conference tournament. Maybe it's a different conversation. But they have gone 21-1 since basically Thanksgiving. It's hard, and you look at these bracketology. If they don't win the conference tournament, the bracket experts, and I don't blame Joe Lenardi or any of them, they're just using the data of previous,
Right.
to make their judgments. You cannot tell me that a team that has gone 21-1 over its last 22 games is not one of the 68 best teams in the country right now in college basketball. And I think the same thing would apply to you guys. I know you said we came here knowing we're a one bid league. Do you think it's gone too much to, like you just said, going from a sorting tool to the Bible? Because again, I don't blame the computers, I don't blame the net,
Yeah.
but yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think you're on to something. I mean, here's the problem with all that. And I know every game counts. I got that. That every game counts. Your first game should count as much as your last game. Like, I understand that. But you would seem like you'd want the teams that are playing well.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Yeah.
because with, the one thing that I think that the net and some of that stuff doesn't sort out well enough is that with what we talked about earlier, with the transfer portal, your team evolves and changes throughout the season. And, you pretty much have to be really on point at the beginning of the season if you're going to have good numerics. And there's 10 to 15 of those teams that are going to be like that every year, but a majority of the teams are not like that. And so sometimes you hit on a formula and it works. Look at Utah State, brings in all those transfers. Boom. They win the Mountain West and they're going to be a good seed. Look at Arkansas. It's worked for him multiple times. I mean, Muss has done it as well or better than most in the transfer portal. Well, I mean, my assumption is, and I don't know, I mean, he got a bad concoction of guys this year. It don't work for whatever reason. It had worked. But there's no leadway in all that because and you don't know who's going to be good. Some of those predictive metrics start with who they think is going to be good. And it's hard as hell to climb up some of those predictive metrics, throughout the season. And so I think I agree with you. I mean, you have to have something to use. And I think the net's better than the RPI. And I mean, we're way far ahead on some of that. But there has to be a human element too, to your point. Like, all right, South Florida is playing great. And let me tell you something, that American tournament's going to be a bear to win. I mean, South Florida is obviously good. Everybody knows about Florida Atlantic. SMU's had a good year. Memphis has as much talent as anybody. North Texas, they're guarding you when you get off the bus, and they're going to be a tough out. I mean, I'm sure I'm leaving out some other. I mean, Charlotte's had a tremendous year under Aaron, but I mean, it's going to be a hard tournament to win. And, I think for them not to be rewarded for all their work in the regular season and for getting better and for playing well is really, really tough and really unfortunate. But look, that's just the way the sport is. I mean, this is what, and I say this having been at every level. I've been at low major here. I've been at a upper level low major at Chattanooga. I've been at a mid major at VCU, and I've been at high major. I mean, I've been at every level. I mean, look, man, and they talk about expanding the NCAA tournament. I understand why they want to do that for the money. But the thing is already, the tournament is already rigged for the high majors. It's already rigged. And I'd say that, I mean, I knew that when I was at LSU. I was the one doing the rigging. We were always in the net. We knew how to manipulate that net like that. I mean, we were way better on paper than we were on the court. We looked way better on paper, and we knew exactly what we were doing. We'd play those starters till 2 minutes in the game, drive those efficiency numbers up, and let's roll. And everybody's complaining about the Big 12 doing it. Well, all you other guys got the same opportunity. They're just smart enough to collectively come together and do it. And they're smart enough to know if you got 10 of your or 12 of your 14 teams in the top 50 out of the non-conference, they're all going to stay there when you play each other and beat each other up. Like, they're all going to stay there. I mean, it's simple math. And everybody has that opportunity, but it's already rigged towards those guys. I mean, shoot, nobody wants to play us next year. I can't get any games. You should see the responses I get on text message. I can't get any games. And so we're just gonna have to play whoever we can. And we can't manipulate the net like those other teams do. And so that's just a fact of the matter. And I'm not complaining. Like I said, I knew what I was walking into. And I knew what the formula was. I knew what the ticket was. I knew what the road was for us to make the NCAA tournament. But there's some really, really good teams in the Atlantic 10. There's some, I mean, the Mountain West is going to have a banner year, I hope. But there's, I mean, look at Indiana State and Drake. Both those teams deserve to get in. I have no idea. I don't follow the bracketology as close, but I have no idea, um, you know, who's getting in, who's not getting in. But here's what I'd say, and I've been on the back end of that bubble. I've been 10 seeds and all that stuff. The bubble's no good, man. You're just picking the best of you're picking the best of the worst teams that are out there that you can get in this tournament. I know they're going to say, well, only 18% of the teams make it and all that stuff. Well, it's not totally, they're skewing the numbers a little bit because there's 360 some odd teams and 64, and they skew the numbers a little bit. There's a much higher percentage of the Power 5 teams that make it than the other teams. But anyway, with the bubble, like, you would like to see the teams that are playing well at the end and are surging their way in. And there's very few teams that do that. More teams play their way out than play their way in. But you'd like to see those guys, get a chance. I mean, my guy Schertz, Indiana State, they're like, what, 26-5? I mean, that Arch Madness, crazy stuff happens every year at Arch Madness. And, they got, and Drake at the bottom's got DeVry. I mean, they got one of the best players in the country. He's probably going to get drafted. They got 2 potential draft picks. They got a young kid who could be a draft pick. And so, to me, both those guys should be in, as opposed to, look, they're going to, and this is what kills me. They post those quad 1 records. Well, such and such from Power 5 was 4-8 versus quad 1, and Indiana State's, let's just make it up, they're 2-4. Well, Indiana State would probably be 4-8 too if they could get 12 of those games. Yep. They can't get 12 of those games.
With 4 of them on their home court, 5 of them on their home court. Yeah.
Correct. They can't get 12 of those games. So it should be like, so it's all skewed. But anyway, I've gone on a rant about all that stuff. But
I'll say this.
My point is the high majors have it really good. They've got the best opportunity to make it. And in my mind, that's why, I tell people all the time, I say, well, is that a bad job? Is that a good job? Shoot, all of them are good jobs. You should be able to make the tournament from just about anywhere. If you're competent, you know what you're doing. You can go out and raise a little bit of money for your NIL. You got major access to the tournament in almost any one of those Power 5 jobs. Outside of what Washington State and Kyle Smith's done out there is incredible. There's some exceptions to all that. Most of the rest of them, man, you got a fair chance, and it's on you to make it happen. That's the way I look at it.
A lot to peel back there. All I'll say is I knew the net was a little crooked when Purdue lost to Ohio State the game after they fired their coach, and it was a quad 1 loss. And they were like, oh, it's not that bad in the computers. I'm like, no, that's freaking terrible. By the way, Purdue fans think I hate them. That's neither here nor there. But it's like, you lose to a team that just fired their coach. That shouldn't count on the team sheet as like this incredible win. So it's a
that's like crazy. So my guy Bucky at Samford. All right. He was trending one of my players' high school coaches. He's a phenomenal coach, Bucky McMillan at Samford. They won the SoCon. Well, their last game, they played at Wofford, and Wofford drilled them. Dwight Perry's the coach of Wofford. He's actually my GA. Great dude. But they drilled them. Well, Samford played without 3 of their starters, 3 of their best players. Well, they plummet in Ken Palm. They plummet in the net. And now, if they win the SoCon tournament, who knows who's going to win that tournament? That thing's wide open every year. They could go down a seed line because he had to rest his best players. He gets no reward for winning the regular season with a full game to play, and he can't rest his guys. That's where it's just crazy.
It's really interesting. I'll tell you what, if you ever want to get out of coaching, I think, the teams and the players and the rosters better than half the guys on TV actually talking about it. So, Will Wade, head coach, McNeese State. So you guys tip off Tuesday. Do we have a game time? I know you don't have an opponent yet, but do we have a game time yet?
We're in the semifinals. I think it's at 5:30 on Tuesday. So 5:30 on Tuesday. So
5:30 Central Tuesday. Okay. I had one more.
Appointment television.
Well, and how do you? We got to go. All right. He's head coach, McNeese State. Honestly, man, best of luck this week. Hopefully we see that McNeese Cowboys in that field of 68 bracket, man. But dude, this was fun, man. This was fun. We'll have to do it again. Probably not in the next couple weeks, but at some point in the future. I appreciate your time. And conspiracy is the wrong word, but I'm a crazy theory guy as well. It gets me in trouble sometimes. So I enjoyed the conversation.
Sounds good. Appreciate you having me on. I'll come back anytime.